Hello world, it's Angela. I'm in the international terminal at SFO. Getting ready to fly out, and it's got me thinking about paths. So let's talk some D3 paths. So, get our SVG element going. Let's get some data. I'm going to make some XY point data just by hand, just to show this. Few here, and I'm going to set up a D3 line generator function, and it needs two things, X and Y. So I'm going to start here with calculating X. So return X, and the Y, similarly, return Y. Now, this will draw an SVG line for us when we give it data. So let us set up an element and pass it some data. We'll make a group here. Oops, yeah, and we get G elements. And then I'm going to make path is now we can't do just data like we normally do. We have to pass an array. This is because we're binding a path element for every element of what we pass into this function. We only want to draw one path for all these points. So let's set that up. And all we need to do to actually make a path is give it this D attribute, but let's do it like this. So that's going to be a line, but we don't see anything because these are all zeros, right? And let's make this go straight across. Also, the line is going to be up here in the top left, so you can't see anything. Let's add a nice little transform. And oops. Going there. We also need to, I always set the fill to none, stroke to black. There we go, see a line? Now we can spread this out a bit, move some of these down. There we go. We can see what happens when we play with these numbers, right? We're up and down. Now, when I move these numbers up, the line goes down. That's because SVG draws from the top left. Yes, good. So, you know, I want to show you what D3 is actually doing with this path, how it's generating from an array here, and what it's making, what SVG is making. So let's make some text. We'll just set the text to the result of the line, passing the data to the line function. This is what's happening in this magic here. And this is what's getting generated and appended to the document and drawing that. SVG is drawing that. So this is actually a shortcut here for this. See, same thing. Let's move this out of the way a little bit. A little bit. Okay, great. Put this down. Now another cool thing you can do is, let's add some mouse interaction here. We'll just do, every time we click, let's add to the path. So, to do that, we can get the mouse coordinates when we click through a handy D3 helper function called d3.mouse, You just pass it this node. So that's when I click on the SVG, it's passing in. This is the SVG's DOM node, and this calculates from the event where I clicked. So this is handy if, like, you know, the SVG element is translated somewhere else. And this is just a XY, like, you know, something like that, array like that. So let's put it on our data. Push it. B1. Now that's all well and good. It's doing it, but we can't see anything because we need to update our path. So let's just call this again. Oh, but see that it's off by something? Let's look at the text. So we're adding stuff, that's great. But it's off by, looks like about 100, 154. This is because we're drawing the path starting here, but we're calculating a point starting there. So whenever you translate stuff, you need to keep track of the offset. Or you can actually, there's some SVG ways to calculate it, but that's a little bit more than I want to do right now. So in order to fix this, we just translate it back and calculate y. And there you have it. We're generating a path from data, drawing a line, and this is what SVG sees. Alright, I'd just like to give a shout out. A couple people set me on my path from historically Michael Davis and Michael Pora. Shout out Gordon, my advisor in my master's program. You know, shout out Mainstem. We're in full effect now. Yeah, I'm on my path, you know, flying out soon. See y'all in Switzerland. Alright.